Alrighty, welcome to iSober. This is a place for anyone who is not able to make it to meetings, feels nervous walking through the doors, or is still struggling with active addiction. Every episode is like a mini meeting. Real conversation, honest stories, personal experiences, recovery lessons, and hope. Nothing is scripted, nothing is fake. Just real people talking about real life and what recovery actually looks like. Whether you're newly sober, thinking about getting clean, coming back from a relapse, supporting someone you love, or even just listening while you're using, you are welcome here. Our mission is simple: to carry hope to people who still suffer and remind people that recovery is possible. No judgment, no shame, no pretending. Just people helping people. Let's get into today's episode. Today we have a special guest with us. This is somebody who has a very powerful story, real experience, and a message that people need to hear. We have Philip Hickman today with us.
Hello.
Mr. Philip Hickman. All right, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Philip Hickman. I'm just going to dive straight into it. My life started off as a struggle. My mom was addicted to heroin. They call them Delilahs. And she was an intravenous user, so I was born addicted to heroin. So they had to put me on methadone. I was a preemie. Wow. I was 5.6 ounces, 5 pounds, 6 ounces. And my granny said I was a little baby and a very little tiny size. But that's neither here nor there. My early childhood was a loving childhood. My granny showered me. She made sure I never went without eating. We were on food stamps, the paper kind of food stamps back in them days.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Yeah. And she made sure I was loved. She always told me I was a princess of the Most High God. A prince of the Most High God. And
whatever, princess works.
Yeah. She told that to my cousin. She raised all three of us. My auntie was in the streets smoking crack while my mom was in prison for the first 13 years of my life, from 2 weeks old to 13. And about 13, when my mom first came home from prison, is about the time that my emotions really started to hit me. She kind of rocked me off my shaker because I only seen her once when I was 7. In between that time, my granny said she had to split the time in half because she could only make the trip once. It was to Gatesville Penitentiary from Abilene, Texas, which is a distance for an older person. And we went and seen her, and at one time we went and seen her. My granny was like, I didn't want to leave, and she was like, she'll be home. She'll be home in some years, but she'll be home.
Granny sounds amazing, let me tell you that. Granny sounds amazing.
She was a very good woman. So when my mom first came home, I didn't know how to act. I wanted to embrace her with a whole bunch of love, but she had just hit the streets straight out of prison, addict herself, and she had been locked away for a long time. So she really didn't want all of me to smother her like that. She was still in her young age, and she loved me. My mom loved me dearly, but her way of showing me affection was to shower me with gifts, because she was a booster. She went in and out of some stores. That's what she went to prison for a life bid. She did 13 and a half in Texas Penitentiary. Wow. Penal system. And so I didn't know how to take it. I felt like I should be the only thing she should be paying attention to. I was like, Mom, I want to show you this. I want to show you that. I want you to meet my friends. And she was like, Rat, because she called me like my granny called me, and that was my nickname. And she said, Rat, I got to go over here to the store, and I got to go over here and run. It was like one thing after another. So I remember I was crying on the back porch. My big cousin, Junior Flip, came out there, and he was like, Bro, what you crying your mama home for? She just went to the store to get you some clothes. And I was like, I don't want the clothes. I want my mom. And he was like, Bro, he smoked weed. And he was like, here, hit this. It'll help you feel better. And I was like, man, I don't want that, because I shunned drugs. I told my granny I would never use drugs because my mom was a drug addict. So I hit the weed, and it didn't make me feel no kind of way. But my granny had been blowing it in my face because I had ADHD and ADD. I have both of them dual diagnosed.
Okay.
And so when I hit the weed that time, it kind of relaxed me and gave me a sense of courage, and like I fitted in, and like I have no nonchalant attitude. So when I didn't hit it again, because I didn't really like the feeling. It kind of made me lazy, made me slack.
Yeah, it made you calm down from that ADHD. I
Yeah.
could see why.
Yeah, I did, and it was kind of. I should have knew then that I didn't want to touch drugs because I kind of liked it, but I didn't know how to take it. So I'll speed up a little bit, and I was 16. My son was born. I had him for a while, and his mom was in Detroit, and she had brought him back, and I was like, Granny, it's a whole bunch on my table. And I was like, I feel like the police is after me and all that. And she was like, so boy, what are you doing? What are you doing wrong? And I was like, I think I have drawn too many people in my drug circle. And at that time I was selling drugs, but I wasn't using them.
And
I
how
was
old were
only
you at
smoking
this time?
I was 16 years old.
Okay.
And I went to this party, and Chris Sherry was there, and the puppy love of my life was there, and we were all football and track stars, and we all came from different neighborhoods, but we all kicked it together, and they were drinking and partying and everything, and they were like, bro, your granny been blowing smoke weed, smoking your face all this time. You ain't never hit it? I said, yeah, I hit it once, man. He was like, man, hit this. Man, just show us that you ain't your weakling. And finally, at this time, it got to me, and I was like, all right, so I hit it. And then somebody passed me a beer, and I hit the beer a couple of times. Well, at this time, I was doing gymnastics and flips and stuff. So it was something that the alcohol and the weed did to my body that made me feel like I was in my skin and I was in my place. And so I remember we flipped off the fence for hours. And I ended up spraining my ankle, and I kept going. Yeah.
Superman.
I kept going and landed on one foot like 2 more times. And they was like, man, all right, it's enough. Sit down. So, but I felt like I was untouchable. So right then and there, that's when my chemical dependency started. It really started, and it got real strong on me. Every weekend I would do that because I also danced at the teen clubs. We had a teen club called Baja, and everybody used to go there, and we'd have battle offs. And so I would drink, because I was a shy dancer at first, I would just sneak in there while everybody else danced off and show my little moves and give my cheers, applause, and run off. Well, when I started drinking, then now I'm initiating battles. I'm going and popping on people and stuff, and
Man, what years are this?
these are the early 90s.
Yeah, I miss that. Like that, they used to have so much genuine fun back then. Like, even the early 2000s was a little like that, but I didn't get to experience it till later on. But like nowadays, it's not like that. Like that sounds amazing. That sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, back in them days, we didn't have knuckle up fights. Yeah, there were fights here and there. Where
it was a man fight. It's you whoever wins,
yeah,
get up and
you shake hands, and
yeah.
you walk off, and you know what I mean. You live to fight another day, and you really didn't hold no grudge because you stood up for yourself. But for the most part, that's where we did it. We did it on the basketball court, or we did it on the dance floor. That's where our battles was. If you had a problem with somebody because they liked your girl or something,
Let's go dance this out real quick.
Yeah, you
like
showed
that.
them out, and it was fun, man. So it got into me real quick, and I started taking pills for my granny. I didn't steal them or anything. I would ask her. My granny basically told me, "Don't lie to me. Don't ever lie to me." She was a different kind of parent. She had raised 19 kids, and so she was like, "Rat, as long as you're doing it here and not out there where you can get in trouble, then it's okay. You know what I mean? I can supervise you. You're in that backyard. I know what you're doing." So before you know it, I'm sneaking over the fence, and I'm down in the neighborhoods, and I'm doing this and that. And I remember I knew I had a problem when my granny turned me down for a pill. She was like, "Boy, I only got 6 left, and you've been taking too much of them pills. I'm not giving you another pill. Now go on outside and drink that beer." And so I went out on the back porch and drank the beer a little bit. And my auntie came over, and she went to the front, started talking to her on the front porch, and I snuck in and got a pill out of her purse.
Man,
I was a piece of work because I had never did that, and my granny didn't raise me like that. And so I ended up telling on myself, like 3 days
Granny
later.
seems like you can't get nothing
You can't
past
get
it, so
nothing
you
over.
might as well, huh?
Man,
That's how it
might as well
sounds.
tell her. A couple of days later, she looked in the purse and she was like, "Rat, come here." And as soon as I walked in the living room, I was like, "Yeah, Granny, I grabbed one of your pills." She said, "You just said that because you knew I was fit to ask you about
See,
that."
I knew
so
it.
it don't matter that you coming clean now. Yeah, you knew it. And Artist May, you couldn't get much by her.
No, she sounds great. She
was.
sounds like an angel, honestly.
So, fast forward, at 17, I got convicted of a felony, possession of a firearm with intent to distribute crack cocaine of 240 grams. And
you really sped it up from 16 to 17. Wow.
yeah, I had been selling drugs, but weed mostly since I was 14.
Okay.
And that was my little hustle to get my shoes and stuff. And
right.
I cut hair. I thought I was a hustler because you had Tupac them then, and so that's what I thought I was. And a thug, true hero under God. I had all these acronyms that made me think that the bad guy wasn't the gangbanger because gangs was real and I was independent. So I went to federal prison for 8 years and 3 months. And that really changed my perspective on using drugs. I went there, and all the people that I sold drugs to weren't in prison.
Really?
It was all
And how long did you go in? I'm sorry.
8 years, 3 months.
8 years. Wow. So you're what? 17, 8
I'm
years
17,
forward.
26.
Wow. That's
So I was 23. I did 3 violations. One for 6 months, one for 9 months, and the last one to kill my paper for 36 months.
Oof.
So my initial sentence was 63 months, 5 years and 3 months. I turned it into 8 years, 3 months. So that's crazy. But while I was in prison, I didn't use any drugs the first time, and I didn't use it the second time, and I didn't use it on my second violation, and then my third violation, I started to want release from being locked in them walls.
Yeah.
And I started smoking weed first, and then before you know it, I was tooting powder. And when I got out and went to Midland, Texas, I was 26 years old, and I was already addicted. And so I started, the first check I got, I think it was like $1,700. And I only worked for like 4 days for UTI Patterson. I went to a place called The Flats in Midland, Texas.
You're a Texas boy, huh? Mm-hmm. You're just a Texas boy.
I'm an Okie now.
Yeah, all right, whatever.
I've been here 28 years.
Okay.
I went and to The Flats, and I had heard so much about crack cocaine, and my mama had switched over at that time, and I heard about that high, and I knew what coke would do, so I went to using crack cocaine, and it devastated me. It destroyed my life real fast. I won't get into the details of it because it really doesn't matter. But there wasn't no limit that I wouldn't go besides sell my body. And I would have probably got to that point if I ever would have been at that point. And but jail's institution and death, jail being mine, they hit me again with another charge and locked me up. And this time it was a slap on the wrist. I was boosting out of the stores, and
so we didn't learn nothing, huh?
I didn't learn nothing. I never learned nothing from all the stuff I went through. I just tried to become a more slicker criminal or more adapted to the environments that I was going in, a little more sneaky.
Okay.
And yeah, it caught up with me. Well, I'll tell you what led me to recovery. After I got out of there.
And how old are you at this point?
At this point, I'm 28.
Okay, so you're 28.
So I smoked crack for about 2 years, and at 28, I came down here for a job at Halliburton in Duncan, Oklahoma, and I met a lady, and she became my wife, and we were married for 30 days, and then we were divorced.
You're lying.
Yeah, drugs. And it made
That's wild.
Yeah, that's what you do in your drugs. That's what you do in your high. I was like, I thought she was the bomb.
She was for 30 days.
She was. Yeah. Then she was the devil.
Damn.
And so I got into an instance where I pulled a gun on the whole house, but I didn't use it. I've never been a killer. I don't know what I had the intent to do when I pulled that gun, though. I really believed that if it wasn't for the kid, her child, stopping me, I would have acted a different way.
Man, your life would be in a whole different course.
Yeah, God changed me. So I went back to Texas, and I stayed with my mom for about four to 6 months. And she was like, "Pick yourself up, Ray. You all right?" And I was like, "Mom, how did I make such a bad decision? I thought I seen something else, and it wasn't that."
And how's mom doing at this point? So we
Mom's-
know when she was 13, we knew 7, we knew how she was. How has she developed throughout this time?
Well, my mom.
So you're 28 now, and how's mom?
My mom has always been in addiction.
Okay.
I was born into addiction. My dad was an alcoholic, and my mom was a heroin addict, and then
Okay.
she turned to crack, and she's never got off of it.
Okay. So she's just a maintainer type.
She's a what would you call functioning addict?
Right, and that's what I'm reading from that.
Yeah.
So okay, you go back to mom. You're 28, right? She says pick yourself up, back up. Okay.
She says pick myself up, and she was like, you need to get back in the game. You need to get yourself together, get you a job, work on you. And so I moved back because I knew I didn't want Abilene. It was so much. It's the same old thing there, and I want to get out of it. It's a great place for a person that's sober, but a person that's trying to get sober, the sobriety there ain't strong. So I called my boss, which was Willie Woodbury, and he said, "You can come down here." He's dead now. He said, "You can come down here, and they got a great recovery thing. You've been here already in Oklahoma, but." I said, "Where you want me to come?" He said, "Well, we got a job down here at Halliburton." I said, "I'm not going to Duncan," because he asked me to come to Duncan. I said, "I'm not going." He said, "Well, we got one in the city. You can come put the application in Duncan, and then you can move to the city."
All right.
So they put me up
I
at
like
the
this man.
Yeah, they put me up at the Comfort Inn at 240, and he sent me for the first time to TRC.
Okay.
Well, he not knowing how TRC worked,
Which is a detox center.
it's a detox center,
Okay.
and he sent me there, and they advised you to go to rehab after. Well, I think 11 days is enough, because all the stuff that they pump
Right,
into
because
you.
now we're sober.
I'm
We're
sober.
11 days sober, and I
Man,
feel great.
I feel great.
Yeah.
I can fix it and
Yeah, I love
everything.
that. I love seeing that.
So I got out, and I didn't go nowhere for no help, and didn't have no
Yeah.
support group except him. And I slowly drifted back. It wasn't long. It was like 30 days, and then I was back at TRC or at the detox center. And it took 11 times for me to finally catch on. And I'll just go into a brief instance. You never know, a brief of what happened. You never know when you'll get wisdom from somebody. It was a fellow dude that just was desperate. He had that gift of desperation, and he came, and we were both on the phone call, and you had to make the attempt that you were calling a rehab. So I was attempting, but I was calling a female. I can't even remember what her name was. And yeah, it wasn't a big part of my story. And so, because that was part of the reason I wanted to get sober, to get a better woman than I had the last time. And so anyway, I get on the phone, and he's sitting there, and he's calling this place. I can't remember the name of the place. And I was like, "Man, what you doing? Who you calling?" And he was like, "I'm calling the rehab, bro." He's like, "I got to go get sober, man. I can't do it no more." And I was like, "How many times you tried to get sober, bro?" And he was like, "Bro, like 20 times, bro, but I never went to the rehab. I'm going to try it this time." And so I was like, maybe I should call.
Man.
So I called, and I got into a place. I won't mention the name of the place, but it started to change my life.
Okay.
I came to the place at first with the thought that I was different than everybody there. And
As addicts, as every addict thinks.
Yes.
I love how you explain things, because
Yeah.
exactly how you explain it is how every addict feels at the very beginning of every journey. You know, it's we're different. We are unique, and no one's ever gone through this.
Right.
But yeah, I like that.
we do. I really thought I was different. I
Right.
was like, nobody can understand how I feel. They've not been through what I've been. And so I get here, and in walks, which happens to be my first sponsor, and I won't put his name out there, but he's a great dude. And he told my story from his story. And this dude is totally different ethnic group, totally different swag, everything. But his story was mine. And I was like, oh. And it was advised at that place to get a sponsor. So I went up and asked him afterwards. I was real nervous. I was like, "Hey, can you be my sponsor?" And he was like, "Yeah, but you got to call me, and we got to keep in contact, and we're going to work the steps."
A
And
good
I was
sponsor.
like,
Yeah.
"Them things that they be talking about, them 12 steps?" He was like, "Yeah, we're going to work 12 steps." And he was like, "We're going to work them before you get out of here." Well, I called him the next day, and he said, "You got a big book?" I said, "No." He said, "I'm on my way up there." So he came up there, and he gave me a big
Man,
book.
that is the type of sponsors.
Yes,
Yeah,
he was
I love
ideal.
that.
And
That's awesome.
I'll speed through this because this man got me clean 14 months. And if I'd have kept taking his simple suggestions, because I was early in my sobriety, I would probably been sober for 10
And
months.
that just goes to show, you know, we don't know how long we're gonna stay sober. We're sober one day at a time. Because that seems to happen a lot where just like the 11 days, you know, well, I'm 11 days sober, you know, and then you stay 30 days sober. Yeah, you work the steps, you get through it. But if you quit working them, you quit taking the advice, you quit being open-minded, I mean, it creeps back up. Like, you know, today the mentor was saying in one of the classes we had was, it's out there doing push-ups, just waiting for you to slip.
Right.
I love when they say that because that's so true.
You are so on point because that's all I got is one day at a time. And I realized that after I drifted away, in the rooms they call that glacier drift, and I drifted away slowly. Life hit me. Life happened, and life does what life do.
Right, life
And,
be life. And
yeah, and I never forget. I moved from the city that he told me to stay in, and I moved to a little town called Norman.
now how old are you at this point?
At this time, I'm 31.
Okay, so we skipped from 28, got about 14 months sober through your 11 times trying, now you're 31. Okay.
So I go to this place called Norman, and I'm living with this girl, and I was going to meetings, and then all of a sudden, life got too busy. I started working doubles. I started, I'm too tired to go there. I worked out this morning, and then I stopped calling and checking in on my support group, and I stopped taking my mental health medicine, and I started doing all the things that I knew were going to lead back to it, but I thought I had it. I thought I fixed this. And then one day, a wedding happened. And
A wedding?
a wedding.
A wedding, okay.
The lady that I was with, her brother-in-law, her brother was getting married. We went to the wedding.
Man, and that is the hardest thing as young addicts
Yeah.
is what am I going to do for fun now? You know, like that is the thing I think that scared me the most about getting sober.
Yeah.
I mean, it still does to this day. I mean, it's like most of my friends drink. Most of my friends do, you know, wedding things, like go celebrate a wedding like normal people do, like normies.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway, so you're at a wedding.
Yeah, and we at the wedding, and everybody knows that I don't drink, and I'm not drinking, and I'm taking it, and we're all going around, and they, everybody knows except the waiter.
Okay, and are they looking at you? Like,
They
are
all-
they acting
all-
different? Are they
no,
supportive?
they are all supportive, and
But there's still that little like,
They're
oh, he
still
don't drink.
like,
Like
he
they
don't
can't
drink.
drink comfortably almost.
Yeah.
Like it sucks.
like I'm a damper to
yeah.
the party,
Yeah.
and then they go for the toast, and
Yeah.
a dude sits champagne in front of
The
me.
waiter.
The waiter.
Okay, he doesn't
And
know.
He doesn't know, and I look at the girl I'm with, and she was like, "It's been long enough. You're all right. Just take it. It's a toast for their wedding. You think you can handle it?" And I feel my ego, like, "Yeah, I got this. I've been doing it, huh?" And she was like, "Yeah, you got this." And her not being an addict, and I took that drink and off to the races.
Yeah.
It was like I had never stopped. And I was like,
That feeling consumed that like that first drink, huh? When you're back in your own skin,
Man.
after being sober so long.
right.
Right. That is just
Yeah, and it wasn't a week, and I was worser than I had ever started. And I went on with that for about 4 to 5 years. I was 36, and I made another attempt.
And you're back to an addiction.
I'm back
this
in
whole
addiction
time.
the
Okay.
whole time.
From 31 over to 36 now.
I went from
Man, and in a flash, I bet, huh?
in a flash.
Oh,
and,
man.
And I went from being a sociable addict to an unsociable addict,
Oof.
to the kind of addict that
Yeah.
people don't want around.
I feel that.
Like I have psychosis when I'm high, so I started to think that people were plotting on me, and people were talking behind my back.
Man,
or-
tell me that ain't the worst.
that's the
Oh,
worst.
man.
Or the police is outside, or there's people in the trees and all that, and
Man.
it was horrible,
Yeah,
man.
I identified Tressie.
Man, or they texting somebody on your phone, and I'm thinking, oh, he texting somebody about me.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's not cool to be around. And before you knew it, I started to know it was me. It wasn't them, you know. And so I tried for sobriety again, and I wasn't ready though. This time I wanted to get clean and sober for a girl, and I was
Was
like,
she in recovery, or you were
she
just
was not
trying to?
in, she was not in recovery, but it was for the lady that I had failed when I took that first drink.
Okay.
And I was like, I can do it again.
Okay,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? I
Right.
was like, I can do this again. Watch me, and I'm gonna do it to show you I can do it.
Mm.
And I tried it, and I wasn't doing it for me, and it wasn't. When I did that, she did some things, some unfaithful things that rocked my boat and caused me to leave the rehab that I was at. And I left the rehab and went to a different city and got myself wasted. And I stayed out there for about another 4 years. And I got real bad this time. And this time I was like, from that to a homeless situation.
And we're 40 around this time. I mean,
And
in
I'm
the
40.
40s. Okay.
I'm 40 around this time.
Okay.
And I was like, man, I was at a bottom, but not my bottom, not my rock bottom.
I understand that so heavy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't know I had to take another lick. I thought I was at the bottom. I was
You wanted
like,
to do more exploring, apparently, huh?
I came in and I went to a place and I was like, I'm gonna clear myself clean and sober. So I tried a different way. I said, it's gotta be a mental thing. And so we have a system called the Crisis Center on Mental Health Issues. And I went to several different ones. And I ended up going in and out 47 times and relapsing. And before the therapist told me, your psychosis is getting worse, but it's drug induced. But there's gonna be a time where you use and you're gonna be stuck in it. Nobody gonna knows you're there. You're gonna be there, and you're not gonna be
Never
able to
come
get
out? Is that when they
It's
call it
called a
permafried?
permanent- Yes. it's
Oh
called
man,
permanent psychosis.
you know what? That scares me.
And I see
that
people,
shakes my core right now.
Man.
I could feel that's what was happening to you when
yes,
you said that.
it did. It rocked me. I did not know how to take that, and still, I went out and tried it again. And
Testing
this
that
time,
boundaries, yeah.
it was worse, and I felt like I couldn't get out of it, and I stopped using drugs. And days later, I'm still stuck in it, and I finally said, I'm getting clean and sober. So
That's
I'm
powerful,
43
man.
at this time.
Those words, let alone,
Yeah.
so powerful.
I'm 43 at this time, and I go back to the place that got me my 14 months clean and sober, and I started paying attention, but I still hadn't hit my bottom, only because I felt like I was missing something. They have a saying where they say, if you're not done, you said it earlier, go do some more research.
Mm-hmm.
So I got put in a situation where I was left, and not left intentionally, I hid, and I never hide, and I hid and said, okay, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna see if I'm really, I think I'm not gonna use the choice of drug that makes me have this problem, but I'm gonna use a drug. And the other drug did the same exact
No
thing.
way. Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And so the drug was meth, but weed.
So what
Regular
caused
weed
your
did it.
first psychosis, if I may ask? Were you like an alcohol user that it caused
No, I drink alcohol, but I use all drugs alcoholically. I've always
Right.
charged-
I love that. Well, no, I love the saying, not I don't love that you do that.
Yeah.
I love that you realize that, because a lot of people get lost in the whole,
Yeah.
well, I'm a meth addict, I'm an alcohol, I'm a cocaine user. No, we're addicts. We do
Right.
everything alcoholically.
That
So, yeah.
part, everybody, wants to make yourself different because either they smoke crack or they do meth or they do D10 or they just smoke spice or they do K2 or they just drink alcohol or they just smoke PCP. But they are all the same thing. When you put the phenomenon of craving into an addict, you get an addictive behavior that only jails, institution, and death stop, unless you're not that type. And I did it, and it was just marijuana, and it gave me psychosis.
Really?
Yes, and it gave it to me even worse.
And I'm not gonna lie to you, that makes so much sense to me because after being in psychosis multiple times, there was a time where I'd smoke weed and I'm over here talking to myself in third character.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what am I even doing talking to myself right now? Like, and it's not crazy talking like, hey, what are you doing? It's like me like picking up a pen. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna pick up this pen right now. It's like it's like a third character in my head, and I'm like, man, I swear we used to not do this to me, man. So I get it. I get that feeling for sure.
And it was so devastating and such an eye opener that it took me to the actual bottom. The bottom I needed, the desperation that I needed, the motivation to get my life together. And so I went back and I was accepted. And when I was accepted, I started to take it serious. I initially threw out all cards.
And you were accepted?
I was accepted at the program that I left.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how old are you at this point?
This time I'm 43.
Man, and to me, you saying those ages, to me, like, for the people listening, like, you do not look, you look young. I would not.
Prison preserves you.
Whatever it is, man, it's working for you. I would not. When I first realized your age, I was like, no, that can't be right. And now you going through your timeline, it's just like, it's crazy, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I grabbed it this time, I was so desperate for a new way that I stopped negotiation, how I would surrender. It didn't matter. If my sponsor gave me something to do, I do it. If he tells me to cut somebody off, I cut him off. If he tells me that job is not going to work for me, it's not going to work. And I prayed before everything. And I can only say this. My desperation came from a spiritual experience. My spiritual experience was I was trapped in that psychosis from that marijuana. And I called out to God and made him a promise. And I said, and I had made that promise many times, but as a Hail Mary the first times. But this time, I knew I couldn't go back. And I said, if you get me clean and sober, I'll do what it takes. And I started.
Man, I'm getting chills from that. I could feel it. Yeah.
It was an awesome experience and an eye opener. But at the same time, I knew I can only have one day at a time. That no matter how much work I put in today, I couldn't carry it into the next day. I had to stay in the present. And I couldn't look back, because if I look back, I'll be pulling myself back. But don't mean I have no reference behind me, but just meaning I keep putting the next foot in front of the other one.
One day at a time. It's a cliche for a reason. Mm-hmm. People, cliches are cliches because they work for everybody else.
Right. And the good thing about the 12 steps that I figured out is because this is what I had to do. I had to understand that even if I wasn't an alcoholic or an addict or who I am, which I am, an addict of a rare nature, I had to have a spiritual awakening, and I had to be in conscious contact with the one that, when nobody was around, was going to keep me clean and sober. Because there's going to be times where I even call my sponsor, and he might not be able to answer the phone at the time. And I need to be able to say, God, do for me what I can't do for myself. And so that's a big thing with me in working the steps and getting past a lot of that garbage out of my life, because now I have a clear communication with my higher power, and I can say, okay, good orderly direction, whoever you may be, which I believe God is a spirit that is so big we can't put him in a box. I do believe he made a way with great people, and I do believe that Jesus is his son, But I don't believe we can pray to him because he said even pray to the Father. And so I don't get it twisted and try to misuntangle which denomination is which. I just know that they're in union.
And they
with what
say
they
don't
own.
get lost in that.
Right.
When you start questioning, you're leaving faith out of the question.
Right.
So you're very, very spot on in that.
Right.
So I love that.
I use the Bible as a basic instruction while I'm living here on earth, and I use everything in it, not just part of it. I just try to do the next right thing, and if I do that, I'm doing the best I can, and He'll do the rest.
Right.
There's a part that my sponsor always tells me to read, and it's real. It's been great in my sobriety this time.